checking. I'm here. I'm on the mic.
Well, good. Sound good? You can hear good? All right. Welcome, Kenneth. Welcome to the show, man.
Yes,
so glad to have you, man.
Yeah, glad to have a part, man. It's glad to be here. And hey, you know how to make the trip.
Yeah, how was the drive?
It was all right, man. A little bit of snow today. A little bit of snow on the ground. But for the most part, we was chilling.
Do you remember that one time we were both going to football practice and I ran out of gas on the side of the road?
Man, that just unlocked a whole new. But I completely forgot about that. But that had slipped my mind. Yes, sir. Come on now. We've been there. You know, a lot of the times, like football, high school. When I think about high school in general, bro, like pure wildness across the way. You know? And times like that encapsulates what high school was, to be honest, man.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that day. I remember my grandpa came and saved us, and he was pissed.
That boy's a little soft, but you know, like he clutched it out. He had to come in clutch, man. We wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah, so I was hoping today the drive wouldn't be like something like that, but man.
Nah, yeah, it was cool. A little wet, a little nasty out there. You gotta clean the car when we get home, but we not worried, man. I had to make it happen.
Winter in Illinois, man.
Come on, man.
So, like, you saw as you came in, we were just watching your 2 short films.
Yeah.
So, like, I definitely want to dive into those, man. Cause,
I
like,
appreciate that.
I'm a film major at ISU.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm taking acting class right now, a screenwriting class. So, like, spill as much as you're willing to say, man. I'm ready. All ears.
You know, to be honest, with film, it's always so weird because everything is so subjective, you know, and you have, like, what I may like, you know, your person here may not like, you know, and vice versa. I think with film, it's so personal also because, you know, all the work that goes into it, you know, you have your crew and people that are DP and audio and director and AC and all that. Like, it's really such a collaborative thing. And a lot of people that aren't necessarily in this space, you know, they don't understand that. You know, I think it's important to be able to have that aspect as well. But film's fun, man. It's great. You know, I recommend for everybody not to do like, you know, you have to make sure to make grand productions, but like, you know, get a couple buddies, you know, load up iMovie, you know, see what happens, man. You know, it's always some fun stuff that can be made with a camera for sure.
Yeah. So as far as like your role in creating those 2 small films or short films, excuse me, are you the director, producer, or do you kind of do all of it? Do you oversee the whole project, or like do you like sound design? Do you delegate any of those tasks, or?
For the most part, I'm pretty hands-on, you know, with that experience. You know, like the last 2 that I've done that are for me and my own productions, like. I'm writing that, so I handle all the screenplay. You know, I handle the directing. You know, I'm DP as far as running the camera as well. Most of the time, we'll have people again for actors. You know, I'll have some people in for that, audio as well, grip team, things of that nature. But for everything that's kind of like a big, you know, a larger facet of it, you know, again, I think that I have the state of mind and the experience to be able to kind of oversee a bunch of that. So writing it, directing it, shooting, editing, all that good stuff is me.
Wow, that's really impressive. But do you storyboard at all?
I'm not a huge storyboarder. I'm more of a shot list person myself. I think that there's some good resources online that kind of handle that, like storyboarding, you know, aspect of it. Again, and part of that is because I can't draw. You know, I'll be honest, like, I can't draw, man. Like I am a horrible illustrator, but for the most part, yeah, if I get like a shot list, I get kind of a peace of mind about how I want to go about it. You know, I have some notes that kind of go on alongside of that can kind of school me through for the most part, but storyboarding, I'm trash, man. I'm trash.
Because the reason I ask is because in the screenwriting class that I'm taking, we have to do 3 screenwrites. We have to like complete them. Yeah. So I figure I might as well try to produce it. I might as well try to turn it into a production. At least my favorite one, you know, because I got enough toys and, you know, me and Rod working and stuff. So as far as like because I feel like I was telling them for this podcast, like most of my effort is into setting it up, making sure everything's right. Like the actual time I spend filming content is like so small compared to everything else that goes into it. So like shooting a short film, you know, I'm kind of like not at a loss, but kind of just like want to really make sure I do the right steps of like, I don't know if it's storyboarding, using those online resources or like a shot list. Cause that's more of how I do it too. Like we shot a music video and it was just shoot a bunch of stuff and then edit it after. Like all the videos that I've done have been short 2 to 3 minutes, like commercials, promo videos, music videos. I've never done any like this is the only long form content I've done. And this is pretty easy. I mean, as long as you have audio, video, and you don't even need video, you know.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know, I like
that's
to do it.
Right. Yeah, of course. It has a different element to sure. And I mean, like posting just, you know, an hour some, you know, audio clip on YouTube, you know.
So
Yeah.
both of your short films, like the ending was very like it was like a twist, you know,
It's
like
different.
it was
Yeah,
good. It was
it's
done well. It
different.
was done
Yeah, I
well.
appreciate
It
that,
was done
man.
well.
Thank you.
Because like I'm trying to think of like a 6 minutes. How do you start enter a plot and then have it to be, you know, captivating enough and then twist and then, you know, like, so what
Right.
was your thought process when you go to create all that?
I think that for me personally, I think the biggest thing as far as shorts go, again, when you get into like features, you have your 90 minutes, your 2 hours, whatever, to have your whole, plot and expedition, build that up, climax, all those good things. When you're working with a short, depending on what you're going for, if you're trying to submit to film festivals, if you're just trying to have like a short little narrative project, you only have this select window of time, so how do I get from A, all the way to Z, in this time? I think the most important thing for shorts, at least for me in the way that I look at it, is story. It doesn't matter if your stuff looks super good or sounds super good. If you have this 6 minute video, you want it to be, entertaining, you want it to be engaging, and you want, your viewer to always have something to be looking forward to, what's next or what's going on. Same way I could kind of compare it, like if I was like, hey man, check out this, funny YouTube compilation, and I showed you a 6 minute video. If you're 2 minutes in and you haven't laughed yet, are you still really gonna try to stick it out? Maybe you might because I was like, hey, watch this video. But like if you're not really engaged, through that full portion, your viewership might kind of go down or you may be kind of less engaged. So I think that for me, like story is the most important thing that I try to nail out before I get everything else. Like, yes, I always try to have everything look good, sound good, be produced well, because production quality is important. It's super important. But if you don't have story, you don't have anything, man. So trying to lead and kind of build, I try to also kind of shift the state of mind of my viewership a little bit. I think that when you have a short, you kind of gotta weed away from things being a little bit too predictable. If I have X story, and it goes this way, my audience thinks, oh, well, I know what's gonna happen, in only 6 minutes, I know what's gonna happen, there. So I try to always have a little subplot or a little something at the end that kind of shifts the viewership and go from I know what's gonna happen to, oh, like, how do you think of that?
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that because we did a podcast the other day and we were talking about movies and stuff too. And I was literally just saying how like the best movies I think are the ones where you're on the edge of your seat, like not sure what's going to happen next.
Hmm.
Like you can't really tell where it's going, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of mysteries, like I was saying,
Right.
but just like kind of anticipating what's next.
Yeah.
And he asked me what movies that I would want to do. And I didn't really answer him. I told him which ones I didn't want to do, which was horror and romance.
Homer,
But
yeah.
but
Yeah.
if I was going to start out, it's kind of based on the confines of your resources, right? Of what you can shoot. Because like
That's true.
I couldn't necessarily. I mean, I could, but I'm not gonna go shoot a Western movie because I live in the Midwest,
Yeah.
and like I
Yeah.
can't really go out. I mean, I could, but that'd just be a lot of time and resources. Like
Yeah.
to get my foot in the door, even start out making like film productions, it'd have to be something probably I could set in this time period that I could shoot in today's
Hmm.
day and age,
Absolutely.
and something that I could, you know, shoot with, like you said, friends, people I know,
Yeah.
something that could be, done easily. But that's what's tricky to me because, like, most of the movies that I watch, I like fantasy movies, I like action, I like,
Hmm.
stuff that it involves a lot of or not cosplay, but a lot of costume design, a lot of props and things. So,
Right.
like, I'm trying to narrow that down. I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the screenwriting class will help me, and the acting class too. Because as far as like like if you look at the production field, I don't think people realize how big of a field it really is.
Huge. Huge, bro. I think especially like with that, even like you see like former athletes and stuff, like they're doing their own podcasts or audio shows and things of that nature. There's people, that are responsible for that, accountable, that have that, like LeBron or whatever will have his own production team. A lot of people watch the new Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco podcast after the games come on. Like they have their own production team, like people to set that up. Like the space is huge, it's not just like, okay, here's a person with a camera, here's a person with a mic, here's a person with some lights, let's do it. It's super deep and it runs everywhere. Like print, a newspaper, there's somebody on set, taking stills, and that could be your advertising. Like the field is huge, man. I think that a lot of people don't really realize, how encompassing that could truly be.
Yeah. especially like every major company, like you were saying, has to have some type of advertisement,
Have
some type
to.
of social media group, some type of tech team.
Hmm.
So like even before I started getting to like audio video production,
Hmm.
I was working in tech. Like I have my degree, my associates in IT,
Yeah.
but it was just like, yeah.
Come on now. Come on now. Yeah.
It was mainly just like networking, work fixing printers,
Hmm.
emails. So super fun, you
Yeah.
know.
That
No,
thrilling, my boy. Yeah.
nah, but I'm happy to be doing this, man. I'm happy you came up here and everything, man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, of course,
yeah,
man. I think, to your point earlier, I was watching, a clip from the last show that you did and talking about the movies that, you didn't want to do, romance and horror. I want to like think about the stuff that you do enjoy, being like, you're not a huge mystery guy, but like a fantasy or an action or something like that. I think the reasoning, and people come up and ask me, from time to time, well, like, man, well, like, why don't you do, an action? We'll just use action because that's the last one I said, right? They're like, well, Kenny, how come you don't do a short about action? And this is what I would say is I was like, okay, think about your favorite action scenes. Think about your favorite action movie or whatever. You got so and so getting chased down the stairs and they're getting shot at from the dude from 100 feet away with the sniper, and then they get out of the car and then the car is blowing up and it's on fire. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, think about that. Can we do that?
exactly.
Can we do that? You know what I mean? It's not even about totally like the practicality of it, but there is so much that go into genres like that that is like I literally can't do that. Like even putting budget aside, right? Because sure, you have your A24 film that's oh, okay, well they got 14 mil for their budget, and I got $1,000, But like being aside from that, right? Like even the elements that go into something like that, like that's just not feasible. I can't close down I-55 and shoot a highway scene. I don't know how to practically make a fire or things of that nature. So like you are limited, as a smaller filmmaker, and a smaller production coordinator and things that you actually can do. But if the idea is there, you can always make something happen. Like the way that I think about it is try to take certain elements from certain genres rather than taking like the
Mm,
genre, themselves like as a whole. I can't make, an action movie, but can I make an action scene? Yeah, like I could do that. I can,
mm.
coordinate, okay, X person throws a punch, you gotta duck and you gotta weave, you gotta run to get in the car and do this. Like that's doable. But all the guns and stuff on fire, like, come on, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes total sense to me. Because I mean, even if it's like, what software do you use? Do you use Premiere or do you use?
Yeah, yeah, I'm in Premiere Pro. Most of the time I'm shooting at log profiles.
Mm,
C-Log 3 is a big one for me for work. I use a Sony camera, so the A7S III, so I'm shooting at S-Log 3 for that. So Premiere normally is where I go in and do most of that with colors and chopping it up. Occasionally I'll go in DaVinci Resolve just to double check like my waveforms and color, but like 98% it's in Premiere.
yeah, I use Premiere also. I've dabbled in After Effects because I feel like if I could get it, that would be
Yeah,
sweet. But After
yeah.
Effects is a whole different
And
beast,
a
man.
whole nother beast, man. I try to stay away from doing that. I try to put myself in positions where I don't have to use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, whenever you go in there, man, whole different ball game for sure.
Yeah, that's I don't even it's so crazy, man. When I think about like even myself like 2 years ago when I was in the army and like
Mm,
actually 2 years ago I was in Salt Lake City.
mm,
Today, 2 years ago.
yeah.
Like I never even thought I'd do something like this. And it's just kind of crazy how life can spin and I feel like it's the people around you too, like the people
Mm-mm,
around you is so
mm-hmm.
important. Like ever since I've linked up with Ryan, like we've like made music, videos,
Yeah,
and just like when I was trying to do that stuff by myself, it was just like it seems so much harder to
yeah.
get stuff done by yourself. So like you have a team, right? Or do you have people you work with?
Yeah, like sort of kinda. I try not to have like again with like actors, I try not to have reoccurring, faces because that kind of brings more of a stale aspect if you're seeing the same people all the time. But for the most part, yeah, I try to have like a set, group of a few select individuals that, okay, well, I know that, you're my friend or whatever. Sure, you may not know how to run the camera for me, but you could be a grip or you could help me with lights or something like that. So I try to have a few select people here and there, if nothing else, to at least bounce some ideas off of. So I try to lurk as locally as I can in that part of it. Yeah.
Where did you learn all this stuff? Like, did you learn online? Did you go to college? You went to SIU, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
SIUE, Roll Cougars, baby. You know what it is. But yeah, I learned like most of like production aspect from SIUE. Like I can't say enough about their program and the ways that they go about that. I promise this is not a sponsorship ad or anything, but like SIUE, like seriously, like they teach you like everything there is to know. Like you're going in and doing TV stuff, you're going in and doing, radio, you're doing video, you're making your own segments, you're helping other people, with their segments. Like that whole production aspect of things, like that all gets instilled, it gets drilled in you, and like they really make sure that you're not walking out of there with else at least knowing, some quality of something, in that production aspect. I always kind of knew, like in the back of my mind, like okay, well, like I understand how this works, or I understand how this works, but like in college was really like the main, portion of where I got that sharpened up really to a point.
So is that when you decided do you wanted to go into production, or did you decide before? Like, how did you know when did you switch your degree at all? Because like I already switched my degree from
Right.
it was initially audio production because I came in I thought that all the like audio video production was under one kind of thing,
Hmm.
and then I didn't realize that it was like just the school itself, like the college school, and then within that there's different subcategories. Because I was initially audio, it was like audio production pretty much was my major I was going for. That's what Rod does.
Hmm.
And then I changed it to do film and digital media,
Hmm.
which is actually in a different college at the university. So
Oh,
like
damn. Okay.
film and like audio production is under creative technologies,
Hmm.
and the film and digital media is under like the School of Theater and Dance. So a
Yeah,
big
yeah, that makes sense.
difference,
Yeah,
but
that
it's
makes
still the
yeah, I see
same,
what you mean. Yeah,
But I actually enjoy it. I like doing the acting stuff. I mean,
yeah,
we just started, but I feel like because I've had so many experiences, like I've traveled the world, I've been to different countries, I've been,
yeah,
lived out of Illinois for a long, long time.
yeah,
And so not saying that that makes me better or anything. It's just like I've seen so many different things. Like I feel like the more traveling, the more experience, like it would maybe help me as like a filmmaker or an
right.
actor kind of put myself in those shoes. Cause I know like the biggest thing, like all the good actors and like, producers, directors, Hollywood will say, like, you have to really embody that role if you're an
Yeah,
actor, like
take it
really
on.
sink into it.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
like in the class so far, like whenever we're doing like a sad scene or so whatever, I try to tap into like a time in my actual life where I've been
Hmm.
sad and I
Yeah,
think about it and try to like
yeah,
really take that role on. Like, wow,
yeah.
this is really how I'm feeling,
Hmm.
and kind of when you put your mindset there, like you're not pretending to be someone else, but like you're actually taking it on. That's helped me at
Yeah,
least.
yeah, wholeheartedly. And I think that, like, again, to your point, like, really putting yourself in a state of mind is how I always coach my actors, and I think of it as step outside, of who you are and yourself. Because when people watch, they don't care about, you, they care about their character. And that's the thing that I always try to coach in, the people that I'm directing is that, sure, like, I understand, whenever we cut, you're back to, I'm back to Kenny or whatever, but when we're rolling, like if I don't believe that I'm said, character is said ideology, they're not gonna get that.
hmm
So it's super important to be able to kind of shift your state of mind in that way.
So I know like most of the Hollywood kind of stuff is like in Hollywood. So like,
Yeah.
what do you think? Do you think it's possible to create like a new scene for like production stuff, like movies and stuff, or do you think like going to Hollywood would be like actually moving there would be the best route?
Um, this is the way that I think about it. I think that it's definitely better now as opposed to, how it was. You'll have like different shows, you're seeing stuff be produced in Atlanta, or, or New York or Miami, like those kind of bigger markets. So I think that the expansion is definitely there. I think that Hollywood again has that massive appeal because of proximity, probably the main thing. You have your actors or DPs or whatever. Oh, well, they live in Bel Air, so of course, it's way easier to grab someone from 80 miles away than 400 miles away. A lot of that stuff also is just kind of established there, man. Like Hollywood, like California, like that's just kind of the mecca. And that's just kind of what it is as far as that goes. It's definitely not out of the question, but if you're in, a metropolitan, and you're in the East Coast or whatever, like it's harder, because you have to deal with like weather elements you don't have to deal with in Cali, and trying to like get new studios put in and all that stuff. So Hollywood, and California in general, that's just kind of the mecca. Is it possible to do it elsewhere? Absolutely. But they all just kind of come with different challenges, and I don't see the big narrative shifting all too much, you know.
What kind of movies do you like?
Man, you know, I think that mainly I'm a huge story guy. Now, for the most part, I really don't watch, a ton of movies. Normally, when I say it, you're like, what? Like, is it that your whole like deal? And like, yeah, it is. But I don't watch a whole ton of stuff for the most part. But what I do find myself actually enjoying, I'm a big like thriller guy more than anything else. Like thriller horror, I know you said actually your last episode, you was like, oh nah, I ain't even, what I'm saying? But like that's like thriller horror, those are always been good for me just because I like, kind of the feeling and the tension and normally the character development that actually comes, within those. I think that, if you're gonna be able to have this whole theme of, okay, well, you have character, something or someone, bad is happening to kind of take them out or causes adversity or whatever, kind of building them up and kind of seeing, how they would have reacted at minute 12, as opposed to how they have acted at hour 12 in the film. That's something that's always been super interesting for me. So thriller, I'll probably say, and pin is like my number one genre as far as that goes. But I like your dramas. That'd probably be number two, like thriller, drama. If I had to pick a number three, what would I say? I would maybe go. I'll go action three.
Yeah.
I like the value, production value and all the crazy stuff like going on. Like it just looks good. You know what I mean? And like I don't watch a whole bunch of like, James Bond or your John Wicks, or stuff like that. But a good action movie, it's visually pleasing, so I'll definitely check it out.
John Wick is probably one of my favorite shoot 'em up movies.
John Wick, yes,
because
sir.
it's just
Yes,
shooting the
sir.
whole time.
Oh yeah, no, it's yeah.
But I think there's something to be said about what you mentioned about how thrillers kind of put the character in that point of pressure, like where they're either fight or flight, force, like in the forge. So like when it comes to like thrillers, horror, like you've seen the movie Get Out.
Yeah,
that's probably like that's probably like the threshold of like
really that's
like,
a
after that
for you.
It's just I don't suspense in me or we do okay, but we're not homies, like
right. Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Like I like to see things. I don't know. It's just weird. I don't like. I get skittish, I guess.
Yeah,
but
I see what you mean.
Yeah. Good Out. That was crazy though. Like stuff like that. Like
man.
some.
That's
actually acquired viewing in my screenwriting class. Cause
like, really?
Get Out. Get Out is because we watch a lot of movies, but it's just so like. So I feel like there's some movies that like you just have to see, like Saving Private Ryan for sure. Like that's a movie that like it's just so good.
It's a staple. Yeah, you need that. You need that.
Although I will say this is kind of bad. I told him I've never seen The Godfather, but I need to fix that. But
I mean, I don't think like when you talk about like peak cinema, whatever, like yeah, it'd be good to check out. It would serve you well, but I don't think it's like a pinnacle. I think that if you're interested, in filmmaking and doing things like creating things, that you need to watch stuff that really inspires like the way you think, or the way that you would go about things and actually be able to have a takeaway from them, rather than just seeing something, just to check it out. Like, for example, oh man, what was the other one? And Rod, you may know when the Barbie movie came out,
Oppenheimer.
There you go. See that from me saying the Barbie movie, yeah. But like stuff like Oppenheimer, like, and I never saw it, so I had to check. Did you see it?
Yeah, I watched it.
Was it good?
It was all right.
It was all right. It was all right. Like stuff like that, to where people are like, oh yeah, like you gotta check this out, man. And I may check it out. I may be like, oh, okay, like this is cool. I may be like, oh well, this is great. But if I can't like take anything like away from it in the way that I would think, or the way that I would go about for my next production, or even my next just drawing, or I'm writing, I'm typing something up, then like sure, staple movies are good, and they're important, they're a mainstay of like westernized culture, but find something that's really gonna stick for you. I think that's more important than any blockbuster or staple in the game.
One thing that we're covering in our class right now, an acting class, is like portraying emotions without words. So like being able to like because our professor he would like have us in the room, and he would go out and come in, and we had to try to guess like what he was feeling as he entered. Yeah, it's like he'll come in and like kind of like take his hat off and kind of like thud his head against the door, and then we kind of like, and then he'll come in another time like happy and jumping around. So like if you come in kind of like creep in, versus you come in, take a coat off and just throw it. It's like it gives so much context of like where you're at,
Absolutely.
what you're doing. Are they comfortable there? Are they normal people there? Is it usual for them to be there? Are they
Hmm.
supposed to be there?
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
all those type of things, like the subtle details is what really makes it important. And it's one of the things that I definitely should want to get better at. And I'm
Yeah.
hoping that and we were talking about this on the way over here too. Like success in anything you do, this is what I think is it's an option. Like
Yeah.
you can choose to be successful. What
Yeah.
do you think?
I think that it's predicated on a few different things. I think that you definitely want to have, the set. You want to have this state of mind. You have to want to be successful.
True.
I would definitely echo that to your point.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Let me. Success is I feel like it's a choice, but like you were saying, you have to have that ambition, that kind
Yeah.
of want to do it,
Yeah.
and some
Yeah.
people don't.
Absolutely.
Some people don't want that. Some people are
Yeah.
happy with just living comfortably, and
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah,
Like
that's cool for them.
yeah,
We'll
yeah.
we'll take that. I think that with success in general, like again, yeah, there's a lot of factors that predicate on it, but if you don't want it, for yourself, and it's not something you strive for, then I doubt, you'll get there as fast as you want to, or someone may be able to do the similar things that you do, but maybe put in a little more effort, and they may yield a better return on their investment than you may have.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So what else is new, man? Besides filmmaking and everything, what you been getting into, man?
I'll tell you what, I want to get into something right now. And I brought my
Let's
notes
do it.
with me
Let's do it.
because of the
Bring it out.
fact that if anybody knows me, you know exactly what I'm about to bring up right now. A familiar face. You may know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
More than 170 million records sold. Most streamed artist of all time. 5 Grammys, 6 American Music Awards, 34 Billboard Music Awards, 14 number one hits on the Billboard Top 100. Mason, I'm asking you, is Drake the GOAT?
There shall be no Drake slander in this household.
Thank you. Thank you. I need that just sprayed around.
Yeah,
Spray
no,
that around.
I'm a huge fan of Drake. I've loved
Okay.
Drake forever. I remember like in Hawaii, man. Oh my gosh, we always would debate about this. Like me and the homie Forbes, big Drake fans.
Yeah.
And there would always be people that because it's like people like Drake or they hate Drake, but
Yes.
everyone listens to Drake.
Yeah, it comes on. Everybody has heard a little inkling, a little something. Like, if you could look at me and say you've never heard a Drake song, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
One of my homies said this to me. They were like, you could go into a 16-year-old girl's room and she'll be having Drake on, and you could go down to anywhere North Philly and they're gonna be playing Drake. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, it's universal. And this is the thing that I say, and again, Drake fan. I may be more than a fan. I'm seeing him in February, St. Louis show. It should be a good one, man. I'll be on the floor, so it should be a good one.
Favorite album?
Oh. Oh.
I don't know how I dropped that one on you, but I had to.
Oh, okay.
I had to.
So this is what I'll say. Favorite album? I feel like, man, and I'm not dodging the question. I will answer. Answer.
Go ahead.
But this is what I'll say about albums when it comes to Drake. Each one, it has its different season, and I go back to each one, for different purposes. Just like anybody else would do with, artists that has an extended discography. Like, man, if you want to listen to, some hype, you want to get going, throw on if you're reading this, if you want a little more, sappy, kind of lover sort of energy, throw on your CLB, throw on your Take Care, whatever. When I think about my favorite Drake album, I want something that checks all the boxes, which is something that I think that is probably Drake's biggest asset. It's his versatility in the way that he can navigate any genre, any style, any beat, any production. Like he's done it all. The proof is in the pudding. When I think about an album that does that for me, checks all the boxes, I get every flavor of Drake that I want. Pause. Give it. When I think of everyone that checks all the boxes for me, 2017 studio album, man, More Life. You get
More Life.
You get every Drake on there. You know, you want your something to get you going. You know, you have your nothing into somethings. You have your free smokes. You have your Gala Chesters. You know, you want your introspective Drake. You
Mhm.
know, you have your lose you. You have your do not disturb. You know, you want your kind of chill island vibe Drake. You know, you have Blim. You got sacrifices. You got glow with Kanye. Like you have every single like style, every generalized thing, you know, that you want on there from Drake. Like it literally checks all the boxes, you know, of a Drake album. And I think for me, that's why it's stuck. That's gonna have to be my favorite man for sure.
Yeah, I respect that answer. I mean, you're definitely right. I have just not heard many people say More Life is their favorite Drake album,
It
but I
yeah,
respect, respect.
it flies under the radar a lot because I think that like and again and that's just my favorite one. Is it Drake's best out? You know, no, you know, you could debate that or whatever. You know, a lot of people will tell you you're nothing was the same, or you're if you're reading this, you know,
Mhm.
whatever. But when I think about my favorite album again, like to my point, I just want something that does everything for
Mhm.
me, you know. And if I'm coming here like on a drive or whatever, like you know, if I want to have my boom,
Track
give it,
one.
you know, track one and let it go, cause I'll get everything. You know,
Yeah,
1 minute in the car, I'm doing this. Yeah, what? You know, the next minute doing this. I'm like,
thinking.
man, you know, like man, you know, like it checks everything for me. I think that it definitely flies under the radar in the terms of like Drake's discography, you know, and stuff like that. I know it is definitely an unpopular opinion, if you will, but more life that's the pinnacle for me, man. What would you say?
That's a good question. Lots of times when I ask questions, I don't even think about my own answer.
Yeah,
But
that's what I'm here to do, baby. We
yeah,
challenge.
I love it, man.
Hmm.
I say, um, probably if you're reading this, it's too late.
Okay.
If you're reading this too late, because I when it first dropped, I hated it, bro. When it
Really?
first dropped, I did not like it, bro.
Really?
Like
Okay.
I was listening to Nothing Was the Same, Take Care. Like I was
Yep.
kind of like, and then as I went back like a year after it dropped and listened to it again, because it was one of those things where like it just came on, and
Hmm.
I was like.
Yeah, he's like,
I was like, "What is
wait a
this?"
minute.
And then
Yeah.
I went
Yeah.
back and saw it was nothing was nothing. Yeah, if you're reading this, it's too late. And I was
Yeah.
like, "What?" So
You're
then I
like,
listened to it again. I was like,
dang.
"Oh, I was tripping." But I
Yeah.
feel like that's happened to me for a couple of Drake albums. Like he'll drop
Yeah.
it,
They're
I'll listen to it right
growers.
away, and then be
And
like,
be like,
and
yeah,
then
be
I'll come
like,
back to it.
you know.
What was that line he said? He's like, dropping something of his classics, and they don't even know it. Or he's dropped
Oh
some line.
yeah, hold on. Actually, you know, Drake super fan right here. I'm a rep. That is off Wants and Needs. And I believe the bar is come with a classic. They come around years later and say it's a sleeper.
Yeah,
That's
exactly,
what yep,
exactly
yep.
true.
Look, I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all know I got the I'm sorry, y'all. But yeah, he is definitely like a whole bunch of his albums are growers. And it's weird to see the narrative kind of like change, you know, over time. You know, again, I'll take it back to something like 2021's release, you know, Certified Lover Boy. I remember, you know, listening to it day it came out, same night, same everything. You know, I'm listening like, dang, you know, this kind of nice, you know. And
Yeah.
again, like, and I'm not the kind, like, I'm not like, I wouldn't put myself in stand category like, oh yeah, Drake don't have no bad songs and nothing. Come on,
Mm-hmm.
like, we gotta be real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he got some stinkers, man. He got some stinkers, but. I'm listening to it. I'm like, yeah, like, I really enjoyed the project. Still think that to this day. And I remember, you know, again, everybody, you can't go on Twitter, man. You gotta get off of that because everybody be oh mid, trash bins, you know. But a lot of people, it had a lot of negative reception when it came out.
CLB.
Hmm. And that had a ton of negative reception when it came out. Well, I wanted more of this, or we don't get enough rapid Drake, or we don't get enough this, you know. But now, again, early 2024, you'll look at it, you know, go on your Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, you know, what have you, and people will look back and they'll go, well, wait a minute, you know, like I'm just listening in and like CLB actually got, you know, some nice songs on it. I
Yeah.
don't know why I was, and I don't know why Drake kind of just has that effect on a lot of listeners. Is
Mm.
like they'll get it the first time and like they'll be like, like it's cool, like it's fine. But then when you go back into it, you're like, well, wait a minute, you know, I didn't, you know, this wasn't really hitting for me, you know, at the time. So it's crazy. I've never listened to another artist that kind of has that same, you know, effect
Yeah, I
on
agree.
you.
That's something. Yeah, I most of the time when I go through and listen to an album, it's like a final decision, like if I like it or not, or like I
Yeah,
might download a couple songs,
right.
but like very Drake has been one of the only times where I've gone through and just as soon as he drops, just the whole album, I'm like download,
Yeah.
and then I'll like
Wow.
if I need to take songs off, I will. Normally
Right.
it's the other way around. Normally I
Yeah.
add songs if I like them.
Right.
This time I'm gonna take them off if I don't like them.
Yeah.
But the one album that caught me off guard was gosh, was it Dark Lane demo
Yeah,
tapes or
Dark Lane
something?
demo tapes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dark Lane demo tapes. So it was like was that the techno one or like the
That was honestly never mind. The techno
honestly
one, the
never mind.
dance one. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Both of those Dark Lane demo tapes I liked.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, never mind. There was actually some songs out there that I liked.
Yep.
Like I
And
can't even lie, bro.
you know what? Let me sit up in this chair. You know who you are when I'm looking at you right now in this moment. Now, honestly, never mind slander. I'm not doing that. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh man, well, this guy, no skips, this guy, endless back. No, like, I'm not gonna come around here. I definitely think it's in the lower echelon, Drake's discography. And that's okay, because this man has a polished discography. Like this man has got thumpers, classics, all that. But when you look back at it, I really think that, like, again, yeah, the reception was bad. Like, it's a dance album, you're not getting, like, your slappers or that. Sure, yeah, Jimmy Cook's on the end to kind of preview the whole Her Loss release in 2022. But when I just listen to it for what it is, and, like, it's a dance album, you throw it on, turn your brain off, you move your body, like, that's it. It's not bad, and like, yeah, again, like it's not in your higher, like, man, like this is a really good project. This is a great listen. But for the most part, you cut it on, like, it's cool, man. I still listen
Mhm.
to songs from Honestly Nevermind to this day, like Text Go Green off of there, Calling for You, man, but Falling Back's a good one, the second one
Mhm.
on there. You have Currents on there. What else am
Liability.
I? Yeah, Liability on there.
Text Go Green.
Texas Green favorite one off of there, man. What something that's slipping my
Keeper.
mind.
You actually said that
Keeper is
one.
good. Man, what there's one that's really slipping my it has a great intro. I'm gonna be so mad when I watch this back and I didn't think about it. Oh my, I had to look. I had to
Yeah, go
look.
ahead. Look.
Yeah, I had to look, man. A great intro, like great, and the rest of the song's fine
Mhm.
too. I mean, it's not anything that's too great. This is gonna bug me. Flights book. There
Flights
we go. Flights
booked.
book. I don't know how that slipped my mind, but yeah, like that album. Like again, is it in the upper echelon? No, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like it is, but very solid project, man.
One thing that a lot of people may not realize too is like if you go to places like Colorado or even like Salt Lake City when I was there,
Mm-hmm.
like we went to this place called Twist. It's like a little club or whatever. Like a lot of clubs like in like places play like
Yeah,
techno
like that.
music, dude.
Yeah,
That's like a lot of people
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And just because like, so I kind of see what he's trying to do. Like just
Mm-hmm.
because, you may not like it or you're used to Drake, like I understand what he's trying to do. I
Right.
understand what he's trying to do. He's Drake. To answer your question, yes, I think he's the GOAT. I can't think of another
Yeah,
artist that has
yeah,
toppled him. I really don't. I really don't know of another artist that's toppled him. I mean, as far as like broad listenership,
yeah.
I mean, he's even done songs in Spanish.
Yeah, yeah, you
Like
got Spanish
that's
songs in there,
like
yeah.
how many other people have done that? How many other people have all those awards that you listed? How many other people? I mean, off of Degrassi
Yeah, off of the grass from Canada, not even from
from
around
Canada,
town,
from Canada.
I think that, like, again, it's weird, and, maybe I'm saying that because I'm Gen Z, like, and I'm not diminishing, like, any legends, your Prince, Michael Jackson, Beatles, like, those all have a place, and I get it, like, legends in the game, can't go without them, like, I get it. But when I think about, my era and my personal listenership, like there's nobody that dominates that, more than Drake, and that's reflected analytically. Again, music isn't a numbers, game. I'm sure you got great rappers out there that get, 500 monthly listeners, but when you reflect, everything and the timeless and the frequency, of which he drops, just, again, had 2020, Her Loss. In 23, you got For All the Dogs. You get Honestly Never Mind, the Dark Lane demo tapes. Like getting a whole complete project, like every, 1 to 2 years. Like the consistency's there, the numbers are there, the quality's there, the duration's there. Like he's it for me, man.
Her Loss, I think I didn't like that one that much. That's probably my least
Really?
favorite one. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I
oh,
mean,
that's
I have
interesting.
one
That is
song.
interesting.
Like I think I downloaded like 4 or 5 songs, but honestly, I have really lost taste for 21 Savage because
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And that really I'm really interested in that because of the fact that, and again, he just dropped I forgot the name, he just dropped the studio album not like a week ago or something like that. American Dream or something like that. I think, and let me know your opinion. I think maybe people are coming a little bit desaturated on 21 Savage because of the feature game. And, when you think about, your favorite studio albums, of late or whatever, you weed through, there's probably a 21 Savage feature
Mhm.
on a lot of songs. And a lot of people kind of categorize him, as a feature artist. I personally don't think so. Like, sure he has, his own polished, category with, the Savage modes and It's an album and I'm Greater Than I Was and things like that. But I think that 21 Savage, at least for me, has always had a pinnacle, as to what he could be. You're gonna get your sliding on the ops, you're gonna have your murder bars, your stuff like that. But like how far can that really, elevate? And he's tried to do the introspective things, especially on songs like or projects, excuse me, off of I'm Greater Than I Was. But for me personally, I don't listen to 21 Savage for your introspective bars, or like again, he tries some R&B cuts like Mr. Right Now, he's got a songs on some of his album he just dropped with Mariah the Scientist and Summer
Mm.
Walker. Like, I'm not coming to 21 Savage because I want some R&B cuts or I want some introspective. Like, if I'm turning 21 on, give me some murder bars, give me, your trap beats, your 808s. Like, that's really, what I'm going for. So I guess what my question would be is like, do you think that, pardon me, because of the relevance that 21 has had maybe in other rappers' catalogs, that kind of took away some of like him as his own artist?
Yeah. No, like I can answer your question as far as why I stopped listening to him. It's not really that per se. It's really just more of like the actual content. Like
Mm,
I'd say like over the past 2 years, really, like ever since I got out of the army, because I enlisted when I was 17. I got out this past year, this past
mm,
summer, really.
mm,
And kind of like since I got out, I've really been trying to like dig deep and focus and like especially in my faith and
mm,
like just trying to learn and be a better person and stuff. And I learned like because I was eating real healthy, I've been working out and stuff, and I was just kind of doing things and thinking about like what am I putting in my body? What am I consuming? Like is it
mm.
good? Is it bad? And I'm not like a crazy nut. Like I love soda, like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
but I try to like drink enough water, so kind of like what you're putting into you. And I noticed that like I was having a lot of like negative thoughts. Like I was pissed off all the time, and
Yeah.
so like I kind of realized that I was listening to a lot of music like that, like a lot of hard rap, hard trap music.
Right.
And I guess for me, like, and I have no issue with it. I've listened to trap music for a long time,
Yeah.
but just like this past 2 years, I kind of just started to change it, a little more lyrical rap, a little more R
Yeah.
and B,
Yeah.
even brought into different genres, like especially in the gym. Like I listen to rock in the gym,
Hmm.
a little more contemporary stuff because I realized like for me like the murder bars and stuff I don't want to listen to that personally like I,
Right.
I don't have a problem with it like and I still do sometimes
Yeah.
but
Oh,
like
yeah, for sure.
8 a.m. in the morning I'm driving to class I don't want to hear about murder I just don't want to hear about murder
Yeah.
so that's kind of where my mind is on it and so like even creating music like listening to stuff I try to really embody like my real life. Like I try to think about what I can really connect to. Like I can't connect to murder
Right.
gang music. I can't. I'm not a
Right.
gangbanger. I'm not,
Right.
that's just so I don't know. That's just kind of where my head's on it. Like it's not necessarily because he's been on so much stuff. And I think he's talented. There's songs of his that I
Yeah.
like and
Oh,
still
yeah, for
have, but
sure. For sure.
it's just like the gangbanging and rapper music. I don't know. I'm kind of past it, I guess.
I think that to your point, a lot of the reasoning as to why a lot of people could probably gravitate towards that is because, it's the identity that they don't share, within themselves.
Mm.
Where you got Shelly, driving to, work at, the popcorn shop, and she got to get there at 10. She like, well, I need a little pick me up. I may be cool, with mom and dad, my brother and the dog at the house, but if I could get some, man, I'm trying to slide on her and her and her, it gives you a little pep, going into the day or what have you. And again, like, I'm not like, I don't know anything about that. I never claimed to have, but I think that for a lot of the reasoning as to why that kind of gravitates maybe towards like a younger audience specifically, or even people that just don't identify with that, they could take a, well, this sounds fun or this sounds cool to be able to do. And it's never something that I would do. So like, maybe that's kind
Sure.
of why they take a certain interest to it. And that, like I said, to your point, that's cool. That's completely fine. But 21 Savage has definitely taken like a different spot, different place, in my music rotation. So I'm kind of indifferent about it. Again, I think that he kind of has a pinnacle, about how far he can actually kind of reach, to the masses. But we'll see what ends up happening, man. I'm not too sure, but I guess
Yeah.
I'll take a look.
I think my Spotify top 5 past year was it was Drake. Drake Future and it was like Drake Future, they've been in my Spotify top 5 since I've had Spotify.
Yeah,
So
since,
Drake and
yeah.
Future. I think it was A Boogie.
Yeah.
He was a new
Hey,
one this
but
year.
okay.
But I've gotten a little more into his
Interesting.
music,
Okay.
And then I can't remember the other two honestly, but it was
Yeah.
like I don't know. I listened to like A Boogie. I used to listen to a lot of Migos, but I kind of cut that out too.
Okay, yeah.
I used to listen to a ton of Gucci. I mean, I'm sure you know that. I was a
Man.
huge Gucci fan, bro.
Oh my God, man. And I'm glad that you brought that up because when I think about, and I don't even remember or even think relevantly at all about stuff in high school, but if someone could ask me, Kenny, what was like the mainstay in your high school? The amount of people that bump Gucci Mane, dog. I'm sitting here like, what in the world? And like, of course, like, yeah, like I've heard of them, like all this stuff prior to, but like the amount of people that like, really, really listen, I'm like, is Gucci really like that? Is he that guy? And again, I don't listen to it. Like, I never really have to that point, but the emphasis on Gucci, man, I never understood it, man. And like, I don't know. Like, definitely props to everybody that's still bumping. I'm sure he probably still makes music and projects stuff like that. But I always just found that so interesting, man. How many people actually kind of rock with the
Not a
sound?
Gucci
Because
fan, huh?
I never got into them, and the ad libs are cool, but aside from that, I never really.
Yeah, so I started working. I was working at TJ Maxx in high school, and same to your point. Like high school is such a distant memory to me. Like
Mhm.
I don't really think about it either. But
I don't even remember half of these
yeah,
people's names.
I don't remember it.
I'll be honest, I don't
Bro,
even remember.
I don't. Yeah, I didn't even get a yearbook. I just found this out like the other day. Yeah, I didn't. I don't. I was, bro. My mind was not in high school when I was there.
Nah,
So
bro.
I like my roommate. You know Mudra.
Yeah,
Mudra. He's my
yeah,
roommate.
yeah. I remember.
But
Yeah.
he's not here right now. But yeah. So
Dang,
yeah. So
what the world? Shout out Muja, man.
yeah.
What's going on?
But he had a yearbook from I think it was his you were in his class, right? I don't know.
I think so. Yeah, I think I was. Yeah.
Anyway, I was class of 17. I know that for sure.
Right.
And I never had seen a high school yearbook because I just didn't care, bro. I was like, you know how it is.
It's whatever.
And
Yeah.
I was flipping through it the other day, and it's the same thing. I was like, what? Like, I don't even remember these people, bro. Like,
what the? Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I like even like the army was such a thing, such a life changing thing for me.
Oh yeah.
And
Absolutely.
then when I came out and I moved back to Springfield, November 22, because you can like 6 months early you can like leave the army and start an internship. So I was working with my uncle
sweet.
who's like he has his own photography business. That's kind of like
how you kinda,
snowballed me into this.
Yeah.
And I was already working as a live venue camera operator at in
that's
Kansas
right.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's right. Mhm.
And so that was fun. I was volunteering at churches doing it, and then so once I got into that, is like I kind of just snowballed into it. But I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought, honestly. What was I? What was I talking about?
I think we were talking about from Gucci Mane to high school.
To
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So
yeah. Yep.
this happens a lot, bro. By the way, I
I
go one way and then
that's a
I
lot
gotta
going
come
on.
back a little bit.
I'm with you.
But so I worked at TJ Maxx in high school, and one of the guys that I worked with, he was like a little bit older than me. Don't worry about that. He was a little bit older than me, and he listened to Gucci Mane a lot, and so we hung out and stuff. And he started putting me on a lot of Gucci Mane, so I started listening to it, and then same thing, the beats and all that stuff. Just started listening to it, bro. And then 2016, it was like the year or two after that is when he got out of prison or whatever, and dropped the album that everybody looking.
Oh yeah,
and that album I thought was a banger, bro. I still got that album.
Still spin it.
Yeah,
man. I think that again, Gucci Mane, I don't know. Like if somebody was like, man, can you name 5 Gucci Mane songs or I gotta punch you in your head, I might as well just take my glasses off, man, because I can't
not even 5 songs.
5, I don't think I can do it, man. When I think of Gucci Mane, I only think of one song.
Lemonade. Lemonade.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll sit there and hear that dun dun dun. I'm like, yep, all right, man.
Lemon on the chain with the finger.
Yeah, I'll be like, and that's like, maybe if that's, hype, Gucci Mane, I don't know. You'd have to tell me. I'm sure, like, obviously, you got, way better song concepts than that. But when I think of Gucci Mane, that's definitely where I gravitate towards. Yeah.
Yeah, Gucci, like, I'd say probably some of his most popular songs are some of my least favorite.
Yeah.
So, like, Lemonade, Kush is my cologne. Like, but like some of his unpopular songs, like I like Mama or Trap Ass 3. Like Trap Ass 3 was one of his probably one of his biggest albums.
Yeah.
And a lot of the popular songs on there, I like Trap Ass 3 was a big popular song. It was okay, but like Hell Yes is another song. Like The Spot soundtrack, Ball with You. That was another one I liked. But
Yeah.
even then, like even if you look at those even have more like R&B kind of style tones to it.
Yeah.
So like I've always kind of been like an R&B fan,
Yeah, for
like
sure.
Jacquees, all that
For
stuff. It's like
sure.
who else do you listen to?
I think that it's funny you bring that up because R&B has been my favorite genre forever. And again, like yeah, I like the hip hop and the rap stuff, but R&B is really like where I submit myself. And like my listenership. Like if you look at my Apple Music, whatever, you'll have it's always R&B first, and then the
Mm,
rest of the categories. I think that for most of me and my listenership, like I'm not necessarily super artist specific. I'm more kind of sound and sonically, on how R&B goes. But big ones for me again, like I'm huge into Keanu Lede, Ari Lennox. Again, of course, people like Drake. He kind of gravitates in that lane frequently. Chris Brown, is a bit of a legend. You can't kind of stir. You can't really have R&B without Chris
Chris
Brown. Like
Brown.
he makes a staple for that man. But also I'm really into like kind of the later generations of R&B because that's kind of what my
Hmm.
mom grew up on. You have of course like
Like the earlier like stuff that was made like older stuff. You're saying?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
for
yeah.
sure. Like you have again like Tamia is a huge big one. Erica Badu is another person that's really been, super huge in my rotation. I've always spent Janet Jackson stuff, like all that kind of, Sade is another one. But kind of that older sound that kind of puts you more in this like mellow, like relaxed kind of state of mind. Like that stuff, man, it just sticks so well, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I know most of those people you just named, but
Really?
yeah, because like my dad, like growing up, my dad would listen to a lot of like rock, like
Hmm.
classic rock.
Right,
One of
yeah.
those dads listens to classic rock.
Yeah, hey, good
And then
guitar, man. Come on now.
my mom, she kind of listens to a bunch of stuff, but she would like her dad was in California, so she would go out there all the time. So she always listened to like Snoop Dogg, like West
Oh
Coast
yeah,
music.
West Coast, right? Yeah,
So
for
yeah,
sure.
that's how I kind of listened to growing up, and then just kind of spun into my own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the same thing of the music though, to shift just a bit. When you
Hmm.
think about music and stuff that's coming out or has been coming out, when you think of who's overrated,
Who's
who's
overrated?
who's really somebody that people build up and they say, man, like this, you really got to get on the this or the that. And you think of overrated, it could be any genre you want, but when me, I think of like rap. We'll stick it to rappers, we'll say.
Okay.
You think about people that's really overrated. Who would
Yeah,
you
I'm
think?
I'm glad you asked this because honestly, like I'm pretty picky about what I listen to, but I think
Yeah,
there's a lot that are kind of overrated. Honestly,
I'm with you. I'm with
like
you.
it's hard to think of like what exactly comes to mind right now, but like obviously like when 6ix9ine came out, I thought I did never
Oh
liked his
man.
music, bro. I
Yeah.
always thought it was trash. He was
Yeah. Six
screaming,
nine.
screaming
Yeah.
into the microphone, bro,
Yeah. About nothing.
about nothing,
He's just saying nothing very
about
loud.
nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like other people that I think are overrated. I don't really like any of like the Ski Mask or like
Yeah.
Trippy Red. I don't really
Yeah.
like any of
Nah.
those. I don't
Like
really like Playboy really.
yeah, Playboy. Yeah, Playboy Cardi. I think for me, and that's its own kind of like rage, sort of genre. I think Ski Mask Trippie Red, like nah, for sure nah. But Playboy Cardi, at least when you look at 2017 with his self-titled, I believe that's a mixtape. It's not even a studio album. Like the Cash Cardi era, as you want to classify it, like that had a different, totally different, direction, as opposed like his later like Die Lit in 2018, a whole lot of red in 2020, like in 2017, like Playboy Cardi is completely different art. Like, I think that his sound is sonically is completely changed and stuff like that. Like I still definitely listen to him. Like of course in that kind of older echelon. Like nowadays he's coming out with some new stuff. I'm like, so like I definitely see what you mean though, because I think people really hold him like a high regard. I don't see the complete reasoning as to why he's kind of higher up, in today's listenership, but he's got some stuff, but the newer stuff I kind of stay away from.
I actually got a really good one that came to mind. Like someone that is super popular that I think is trash. Like
Hmm.
I don't have one. I maybe have. I don't know. I've had songs. I
Right.
took them off. I just they come on. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
Travis Scott, bro.
Thank
I do not like Travis Scott.
thank
I think he's trash. What do you think? I mean, I think he's
I
trash, bro. He's
I
trash.
almost yeah. So because who watching this right now, I'm looking at you. Travis Scott buns. And like and again, and I don't even want to say like I don't want to say that he doesn't have any music that's good. I'm not gonna say here cap. He's got some, Astro World. it's a good album. I'm not even gonna say you're lie, it's a good album. I still spin, your sicko modes or your can't says, or your stop trying to be
Mhm.
God and stargazing. Like, that's a good project. It's good. But when I look at Travis Scott in the regard, it's really the fans that kind
Mhm.
of put him to this like upper pedestal. Like, man, Travis Scott is really that. Like, no, I think that the reasoning why I never really took it and it never really like stayed in mind is because it's like really, really production based. And like, yeah, Travis Scott, has, his more lyrical tracks, like a 90210 or
Mhm.
Maria I'm Drunk or stuff like that. But when you really think about the essence of what, Travis Scott is, like, he's saying nothing, but it sounds really good,
Say
because
exactly, bro.
the production and you have your horns and the synths just kind of putting you in this sonic like zone. I think for me, and like, and I don't smoke, but like Travis Scott is like perfect like smoker
Mm.
music, just kind of have you or whatever and just kind of sit back and just kind of chill and just let it kind of take you. But a lot of the times, like, I'm just not in that state of mind. So Travis Scott just it never stuck with me.
I remember like people bumping, "I don't want your apple pie,
Pile of
mama."
yeah,
I'm
apple
like,
pie,
"Wait,
yeah,
what?
yeah,
Like
like
apple
he was like
pie?
he was like,
What are you
huh,
talking about? What
yeah,
does that even mean?"
yeah,
For a long time I was, and for a long time I was like, "That's gotta mean something. I just don't know."
mm,
I never really asked, and then like
mm.
I still don't know. I don't think it means
Yeah,
anything. Like I don't really know.
I
Like to be
think
honest,
maybe it's an innuendo or some
it's gotta be
sort. Yeah, I don't know, man. But I think I'm wholeheartedly co-signing you on that, man. Travis
Travis
Scott,
Scott.
he
I
not for
also
me,
don't really
not for me.
like to be honest, I don't there's a lot of female rappers that I do like or artists I should say, like Mariah the
Hmm.
Scientist, like you said,
Yeah, bro. Oh yeah, that's a great.
SZA.
Yeah,
I got a lot of their music,
yeah.
but like
Okay.
Ski Yee,
Oh,
Cardi
Sexy Red.
Red, or Sexy
Oh,
Red.
man. Nah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't get it and say. I feel like that's all just kind of club music. That's just noise to me, man.
Yeah,
So I
club
don't.
music. Perfect way
Yeah,
to put it.
I don't really pay any, mind to that. And then like it'll find you. Like if you're, outside, you'll definitely hear, your ski yees and your, kind of move music. But I never really pay any mind to that, man. It's just kind of noise to me. But it's
Sexy
cool.
Red.
Yeah, she had a concert in St. Louis not that long ago. I heard they
Really?
was fighting. I was
Really?
like, man,
They was fighting out there?
yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine. She went there and she was like, yeah, it was a good show, but they was fighting and people was getting
That
hurt. And
doesn't
I'm
surprise
like,
me.
yeah, nah,
You probably been to St. Louis a lot then because you were at SIU.
yeah. I haven't been out there like a whole ton just
Hmm.
because like there's not a whole bunch of stuff that kind of like is in my lane or market that I go out there for. But yeah, I've been out there a good amount for sure. There's a camera store, Schiller's Camera in Brentwood, I believe it is, that I'll kind of go there and shop around for camera stuff and things of that nature. But I get out there a fair
Yeah.
amount, fair amount.
So would you say you're like a homebody, or do you like going out and stuff? Like, cause I used to go out. I used to be a total extrovert. Like I used to go out
Right.
all the time. Like especially
Outside.
in the army, I was outside, bro. Like with
Yeah,
the
yes,
homies,
sir.
posted.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Always outside. But now it's like I'm like, why would I go out for? Like it's
Right.
like it's a different vibe. And of
Yeah.
course, like being in the army and then being out, it's like already kind of a weird change. But like I don't know. I'm kind of past that. At least for me, like I'm kind of past. Like I went partied a lot in Hawaii, but now I'm kind of chilling. So it's like,
Mhm.
what do you do? What do you like going out?
I mean, I'm really not a huge going out guy just because of the fact that I never really took a big interest in it. Like, for me, I think of going out, like, what am I doing out that I couldn't be doing at home? And again, I think a lot of that's kind of predicated towards drinking. Like, I'm not a
Hmm.
big drinker, like, I don't really get into most of that. So, going out was never something that kind of stuck with me. I'll definitely here and there, I'll go, I'll take some friends, we'll go out, we'll dance and stuff like that. But for the most part, I'm kind of in my element, in my space. I just try to make sure that I'm maintaining everything that I can. A lot of that's work related too. Like I'll always be working on an edit or working on something, and can't take my laptop in the club, with some headphones on. So, pardon me, but a lot of that, yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm my home body just because I'm definitely willing, and engage. Some other things, some other interests that are outside, I'll definitely make sure I'm an active part of that. But clubbing and like the partying and that kind of outside scene is not really for me. Nah.
Yeah, it's definitely. I've learned that like it's definitely good. It's good. Like I think it's almost necessary. It is to have like to be social and to like
Yeah,
interact with people because I've been
yeah,
in periods of my life where I'm just like totally isolated and that's not good. And then I've had periods in my life where I'm totally outside all the time. So like
Yeah.
for me, like trying to find that balance. But I think even more than that, it goes to what you're saying is like when I do be social, you know, what am I doing? Is
Right.
am I in the club partying? Because like me and my roommate were talking about this last night. It's like you go in the club and it's like, what do? You stand in line in the freezing
Yeah.
cold,
Yeah.
go inside, super
Yeah.
loud,
Yeah.
stand in line at the bar again,
Yeah.
get a drink, you know what I'm saying? And then you can't even talk to your friends because it's too loud in there. So
It's
it's like
too loud. Yeah.
part of the reason why I love doing this, bro, because it's like I
Yeah.
can talk to people, I can interact with people, and it's people that I wouldn't normally see all the time sometimes too, which is cool to me. Like
Cool. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
I love being able to just talk and hear like new things, and I've learned so much from doing this podcast too. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
when I first started doing it, I learned that I was not a good listener, bro. Like me and Ryan Herman. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm
yeah,
not sure.
but he was my first guest, and as I was watching it through, and it was, you know, it's still good, but like, man, I was like always trying to like say something to kind of fill that space.
Yeah.
But then I realized, like, when you're listening to it back, that space is not a bad thing. Like,
Yeah.
and this happens a lot when you see people get on camera or get up in front and talk to people. They'll try to like spit it out really fast and like try to get all their thoughts out so no one misses anything. But really, like, you got to have that. Just talking at a normal pace. Like, I like this because it's just like a conversation and we just film it, you know?
Absolutely.
And there's not really an audience here, so it's like a little easier. But
Yeah.
I don't really have a fear of going up and talking in front of people, thankfully, you know. What do you?
No, I've always kind of loved when I was younger, like, and I don't really know what was the turning point or kind of like what was the switch, you know, to change your energy or whatever. But yeah, when I was younger, man, like huge, like stage fright, and I was always involved in the arts, so that always just kind of seemed backwards, you know, to me. I was always doing stuff that required me to be on stage or be on a set or something. I'd be so scared, man, like run away crying, like the whole nine, like it was terrible. But again, I don't really know. It's just like I woke up one day and it was just gone, you know, and I don't necessarily want to say like I got a big, you know, mic presence or whatever, but I think that whatever it was, I was just kind of holding me back. Like it was literally like overnight. Like I just woke up one day, you know, and it was gone.
How old were you when that happened, do you think?
Man, probably that happened all the way from like, again, I started doing like little shows. I've been in like choir since I was like 4 years old. Like, it's been a while. So ever since like that period till I was like maybe like 12 or 13, like I was like scared, man. Like it was bad. I couldn't do it at all. And like I literally have no idea what changed. Like God just woke me up with something. It was like, all right, you done with that, you know, now, and like overnight, like it was just gone. It was cool. So now, like, you know, small audience, big audience, not that I have to give huge presentations ever, but, you know, even like a speech class, you're presenting something, or like, you know, if I got to host an event or whatever, like, no problem. My only thing now is I sweat, you know, like if I'm like really in front of like some people, like, and it won't be like anything consciously that I'll think of, but like, nah, I'll start. So I'll be like, I'm sorry, y'all, I got a little beam, you know, but one day it was just gone.
I'm so glad you said that, because it's the same way for me. Like, even though I have no issue going up and talking in front of people, I'll do it. I still get a little bit nervous. It's always like right before I go up or go on or start is when I start feeling a little nervous. And then once I kind of catch my rhythm is when it's fine. So like, that's what I tell anyone who's like starting to be in front of people for the first time. Cause like, we had I coach football now.
Yeah, that's right. Where is that at again?
At U High. It's here in Normal. It's like they're in the CS8 now.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we went 7-2 last year. So pretty good.
Come on now.
But I'm the DB coach, of course.
Yeah. Oh, got to. Gotta let them know.
We had a banquet like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and I was like calling the defense for the JV team. So like, you know, he was like, "Do you want?" Because Brody Waller's the head coach.
Are you high?
Yeah. So him, you know, obviously had that connection. So yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, he wants to come on here, the podcast.
He need to get on. So you got to make that happen, man. You got to make that happen.
I'm gonna start.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Dang.
But so he comes on. He wants to come on. Hopefully he does. You know, hopefully we're able to work that out.
Yeah.
But so we had that banquet, and so I was calling the defense for the JV last year. Last year's my first season, obviously. Yeah. Because I just got out of the Army, but I was going up there to make my remarks, and I did okay. You know, like, but it wasn't that great. Like, you know, I went up for improvement. I kind of jagged, but like it wasn't horrible. It was just kind of like you know, like it wasn't that great, but that's okay though. Like I feel like I'm happy that it happened. I wanted to go up there and give it a shot because as far as like reading written, because I'm more of like on the fly guy, like
Yeah.
this. Like even I took speech class before, and I never prepared anything because I can just talk.
Yeah, you just go.
But
Yeah.
as far as like making like certain things that I want to like you had your notes, like touching on these subjects, I try to being more organized essentially.
Yeah.
Like having maybe like a slot period of time to talk. Like I was the best man at my brother's wedding.
Yeah.
That type of scene, like giving a speech. That one I did pretty well on.
Yeah.
This one not so good. But the more times that I go up and just put myself like forward in the fire is the more comfortable I am. And it's not that I don't get nervous. It's just that I know that I'm gonna be able to overcome it. I know that the nervousness is only like it's gonna last for I don't know a couple minutes, and then once I start getting my rhythm, then I'm good.
You good, man. You good. So I think another thing that I definitely want to make sure I hit on is back to the film aspect. You know, and this is coming from you who hasn't always been involved. In that space. Like you've had other interests. You've had again your thing like the audio production. You mentioned you switch your major. What do you think when you think about production in general is something that do you want to have like a mainstay of like I want to be, a director. I strictly want to be, a gaffer. I want to be an editor. Like, do you have something that really piques your interest as far as a direction? Are you kind of more general and willing to kind of like find the niche you want to get into? Like, what's your state of mind on that?
The vision. Yeah. So my vision for like what's ahead is I feel like the best way to go about it is keep as many options open as you can. So like I'm doing the podcast, I'm doing, I'm in college for it. I'm kind of just letting things develop as they go.
Yeah.
And like, like I say, like my faith has really improved. So I'm kind of just trusting God to lay the path before me,
Absolutely.
But I'm kind of just getting involved as much as I can. Like as of right now, like it's in the future, where would I want to be? Not necessarily, I wouldn't want to be boggled down to a specific title, like sound designer, producer, director, actor. I wouldn't want to be like Matt Damon, he's done a little bit of all of it, something like that, or people or Tom Hanks, like they've done all kinds of stuff, and I feel like the more you're in the business, the more you kind of learn more things.
Right.
But now I don't have like a specific thing that I would want to do. I just want to do something that I enjoy,
of course,
because I've been in positions where I'm doing stuff that I don't like, and it's horrible. Like. Yeah. And like I may have mentioned this before in a different episode, but I like working on things that are goal oriented. Like I want to be able to see the finished product. Like if you're doing a film or like a podcast, you can do it, complete it, and then you can see it. Like this is what I did. This is what we created. It's done. Let's put it out there.
Yeah.
Whereas like I was working when I was in Kansas, I was working as a help desk, like IT help desk, which is just like I was saying, like printers, emails, and so you'll have someone come in with a ticket, and it's like, this is your to-do pile. This is the completed pile. But they never end. It's like you're working on time. You come in at 9, you work till 5, you leave, come home, and you do the same exact thing the next day. Yep. And that to me is prison. That sounds absolutely horrible to me. Like being confined to working to time and not to completion. Like I think like even in the Army we had this saying like train to standard, not the time. Gotcha. Like let's train to where, or let's work to where we are happy with what we've done. We've made a good quality product or show or whatever, what have you, and not just let's work till this time period. Yeah, that's what I hate. So as long as I'm in something where I can see the vision, see the goal, and work towards it, I'm happy. And I'm obviously right now it looks like it'll be in the production world, but it may not be. I'm keeping my options open as much as I can. Like I'm getting a minor in Spanish.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, you mentioned that on. Oh man, you were just again. I was watching clips, man. Hey. You did. You were. Oh man, who were you talking to? Where you were talking about that?
Probably my homie Bell, because we shot that. We shot that video in Colombia.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, man. And like I said, congratulations to you, man, being able to kind of get that done. And like for me, it's always been different. Always been something that I'll kind of emphasize. In my kids, it'll be important. It doesn't have to be Spanish, but it could be something else. And I've been taking Spanish class for like 10 years, like 11 years.
Really?
Like it's been like it was something that my parents like drilled into me. So like super great for you, man. I know like again they want to say start younger. That's kind of and it's proven to kind of like grow up with it. And I grew up with it, so it just kind of came a little bit more natural like as I got older. But as you get older, it's kind of harder to retain and harder to learn. So like huge props to you, man,
Thanks.
about being able to actually like go and get that, and you don't even have like a dedicated, you know, way or profession of how you want to do it. Like you're just making it happen, and a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah.
So that's good for you, man.
Have you always lived in Illinois?
Yeah, yes, sir. Always been here.
I saw that the U.S. Census predicted that by 2040, that the United States would have the highest population of Spanish speakers in the world. That's their prediction. So like
Really?
as far as sheer volume, so like the
Yeah.
amount of people coming here and all those things, like there'd be more as far as like the number, like the straight number, more people here in America that speak Spanish than anywhere else in the world. In
Really?
Mexico, Spain, all those places.
That is interesting, man.
So that's why that is that, and because I've dated a couple girls who were Spanish, so that's they would talk around me, and I like they would talk about they would talk. I hated it when they would talk around me, and I wouldn't know what they were saying,
like,
bro.
Yeah.
You instantly think, oh, they're talking shit,
Right?
But it's like they may not be.
Yeah,
like,
no, they may be just chopping.
The first
it up,
time,
whatever.
when I first started learning Spanish, it was like on Duolingo, and then
Yeah.
when I started understanding it, I heard people talking in the office, and they were just talking about their dog, So like, it's not always like they're not always talking in even at you go to Chinese buffet, they're not always talking in another language because they're talking about you, even though that's like what you generally think. I don't know why that is, but like,
we're selfish creatures, I guess.
I want to get I want to get to that point where I start to think in Spanish,
Yeah.
because I feel like once you start to think and dream in Spanish,
that's how it sticks.
I know a girl who she grew up in Mexico, and she came, and what she said that she started thinking and dreaming in English, like she heard in her dream her dad spoke English to her, but her dad doesn't know a word of English.
Really?
So once you start thinking and dreaming in the other language, that's when like you're nice.
Yeah, that's how you know it sticks. And I tell people, like, and again, I've never taught Spanish before, like, to anyone. I not, I don't know, it's just never been something that's been emphasized, and nobody wanted to, grab that. But if I were, I always think, to your point, that like I try to think of it as you not necessarily being like translator switch, and you think about, okay, well, this is the English, like how do I say this in Spanish to take the English and turn it into Spanish? Like I would kind of think about it, in the inverse way of you have this thing, in Spanish that you want to say, well, how do I like construct this sentence or whatever? How do I break that down? Okay, yes, it makes sense, in Spanish and my conjugation's right and all that good stuff, but is that still encompassing the thing that I'm trying to say, in English? So I wouldn't necessarily be like, okay, this is English to Spanish, but more Spanish to English, and kind of start with that process and work your way backwards.
Exactly. Like if I like us talking right now, like even people listening or whatever, like if you just know what it means. Like you just know what it means. Like you don't have to think about it. You don't have to convert it. Right. So like even still now, like I got to take Spanish in my head. I mean, as far as like small talk, I'm pretty good on, but as far as like elongated sentences and like thought out points, I have to convert to English, process English, convert to Spanish, and then spit it back out. Get it back out. When I want to get to that point, and like for small talk, I'm there to where it's like they can just say it and I just know what it means. That's like the goal eventually. But yeah. Right. So what your parents just started you speaking Spanish, or like what
my mom really heavily emphasized, like for literally like as long as I can remember, like 4 years old, like I was there as soon as like, cause I learned what I tell is like I learned English and Spanish like at the same time, like the same thing, as you're growing up and you're reading your basic storybooks or your, numbers 1 through 10 or whatever. Like the same time, I'm getting 1, 2, 3. I'm also getting a little thread. Like it's definitely different. And like that made me struggle for a while. So I kind of had some resentment build up at the beginning.
Really?
Is because I'm in school, I'm like, yeah, I'm getting the Spanish, but like then when report cards come, I'm getting a D, in English class, and they're like, people ask like, how you getting a D in English? Like you speak English, like and that's its whole other thing. Like, of course you have your grammar and adjectives, adverb, whatever. Like I get that aspect, but picking up both of them simultaneously, like it definitely helps now, again, being able to just flip that switch over. But like growing up and getting that development, like, boy, it was tough, man. Cause I had periods like I really struggle with getting English concepts down, and then I'd be cool with the English, but then now I'm not doing as well in Spanish class, and I'm thinking about the English words. It was tough, man. It was definitely tough, but cool now.
I think the best way to do it is to learn when you're young, though, because this is what I'm going to ask Brody about if he comes on here. But education. What is the purpose of education?
Right.
Is it to get a good grade or is it to be educated?
It's true.
Because those are two different things.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
you can be educated and not have good grades.
Yeah.
I failed classes in high school. I don't think I'm an idiot, you know,
Yeah,
like just
yeah.
because, and that was effort really, but it wasn't necessarily because other things. But what are we trying to do? Are we trying to get a good grade? Or are we trying to be educated? Because like a lot of the homework, like, and a lot of the professors here are okay about like realizing, knowing that.
Yeah.
But like, am I just doing busy work or am I learning?
Right.
Like for homework wise, like what I'm doing homework, is this actually helping me learn?
Right.
Or am I just trying to complete a task? Because like, dude, I hate doing shit. Sorry, just to check the block.
Yeah.
Like I don't like checking the block, dude.
Yeah.
Like I like to do things with a purpose, you know. And that
Yeah.
was like one of the major reasons why I got out of the army. Because wow,
it was block
like
checking.
it's block the check the
Yeah.
block, dude. Go cut the grass.
Yes,
go.
Yeah. Do this. Do that.
I mean, dude, the amount of things that you do in the army that just make no sense is just, it's beyond explanation. Like
really,
oh, dude,
Man.
it's bad, bro. Like,
yeah, I
like,
have no idea. I have no idea, man. That's all you.
Yeah, yeah. The best times is whenever like you know, that they just they don't know. I mean, the reality is they don't know what's going on. Like they try to be as prepared as possible. So like if you think about the chain of command. So me as a private, when I first went in, I'm at the bottom of the barrel, dude, like very bottom. Yeah. And so you have private, team leader, section sergeant, platoon sergeant, first sergeant, sergeant major, like all the way up.
Right.
And so like the orders come from the top.
Yeah.
So from here to here, it's like playing telephone, dude.
Yeah.
So it literally is like playing telephone.
Yeah.
And so like by the time this order gets to here, it's all twisted and just because this person will put out an order. This is what we're gonna do, and then this person wants to get a good bullet on their evaluation, so they add a little little
seasoning on.
And this person right here, they have another good idea, so we call them good idea fairies. Like
good idea fairies.
Yeah. So it's like
it's something.
Like whenever they come down, they'll be like, all right, like bro, I've literally mopped concrete in the rain, bro. I've mopped concrete in the rain. I've cut grass with scissors. Like I could just go on and on, dude. I could talk about stories for days. And I figured like with this podcast, like eventually I'll tell all the stories. Like I was telling Rod last time about how like I won't go into the whole thing again, but like I got sent on mission for the Afghan refugee stuff, 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week, came back. They said I owe $2,000. So if you want to hear that, you have to listen to the Why I Did with Rod. But like that's just an inkling. That is just an inkling of things that they do. Like, dude, they don't care. Like they really don't care. And the biggest thing with the officers is like the evaluations, like I was saying, like everyone gets evaluated.
Right.
And the only way you can get a good evaluation if you've done a unique thing. So like, and so a unique thing typically is just like some dumb shit they make up, like going to the field or whatever. And the best leaders in the army are the ones that don't care about that. Like they don't care. They care about the soldiers, you know?
Yeah.
Like I can't tell you how many, I won't go too deep into it, but like the money, I don't think people realize how much money the government throws around, dude. Like,
like it's got to be crazy.
Like our battalion commander had like a $10,000 budget for his office furniture, dude.
What the world? Okay.
Yeah. And then we're living in moldy barracks.
Yeah, I'm about to say you get in the slums.
We live in. I'm getting as a private. You make like what, $20,000 a year?
Yeah.
And of course, like the caveat is, oh well, you're not paying for housing, you're not paying for this and that. It's like, yeah, but they also come in to where I live at 4 a.m. and just flip all my stuff, and then. Yeah. But I mean, I'm very thankful for the army. I met some of my best friends, life experiences. It really set me up to where I'm at now. But like, man, I'll tell you this: anyone who's thinking about joining the military, you got to have a good reason. You got to have a good reason. Don't join just because you have nothing else to do. Yeah. Like for me, I was set on playing college football. I got injured. And it's kind of like a well, what now moment. And so like but I still wanted to be. I'm still ambitious. I still wanted to do big things.
Of course.
So what's for me is like in that moment of time, like what's the what could I do that would put me ahead the fastest?
Right.
And that just happened to be the army for me because I wasn't in the mindset to go right to college and didn't have a way to pay for it right then. Right. So it ended up working out for me. Now I'm in college.
Now now you're right back. Would you say that you recommend the military for people that are thinking about it? Would you say like what would be your state of mind about if somebody were to come to you and kind of get, your take on that or your state of mind? Would it be like a recommendation? Would it be something more like a cautionary tale? Like how would you categorize that?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question, and I get asked it all the time. I'm not ever really sure how to answer it. It's like it's one of those things where if you're gonna join, you gotta be all in, because it's got to be every second of your day. First thing I would ask someone is like, well, what do you want? Why are you joining? Like, if you're going for free college, a lot of people do that. It's fine.
Cool.
If you're going for the money, a lot of people do that. A lot of people join to get out of their current situation, whether it be like at home and there's guys that join because they have like, the court told them to, like, we had this guy in my basic. Pretty much his options were like, go to jail or join the army. Yeah. So what, it's not much of a choice.
Yeah, no, you gotta do that.
But if you were thinking about joining, I would ask you this. First of all, I'd say don't join the Marines. Just flat up.
No Marines?
Don't join the Marines. Right. I'm gonna say that. That's just me. That's what I think.
All right.
And I'm sure that all the crayon eaters will give me some hate on here, but bring it on. I don't really care,
Yeah.
But I was in the Army, so I can say that.
Yeah, come on now.
But the Air Force is cool. Like my cousins, I had 2 cousins in the Air Force. One's in now. They have the best facilities, like Air Force, like barracks, gym, all that stuff. They have like probably the easiest standards as far as like physical upkeep and things like that.
Right.
Actually, the Navy probably has. There's a lot of like bigger dudes in the Navy,
for sure.
That's a little understandable because they on the ship for 6 months at sea.
You don't got
But like I know people who are in the Navy who've never been on a boat.
Yeah.
So the Navy, but there is that chance of being on a boat. So you gotta.
Oh yeah, you gotta have that. You gotta have in the back of the mind for sure.
So I would say between the Army, Marines, Army, Navy, Air Force. It really, what do you want to do? Do you want to have you want to be chilling? Air Force. Do you want to have like the all around military experience? Still do some badass shit? Army. Yeah. If you want to, if you are cool with the ocean, even potentially going on a boat for 6 months, then Navy. And like Navy has good facilities too.
Yeah.
Army's facilities are better than Marines usually, but not like, it's okay. I mean, it depends on where you're at, and the biggest thing about the military is also depends on your leadership, because you basically are signing away your rights when you enlist.
Yeah.
So it's like the people that are in charge of you, like they dictate like everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's really important to have people who are good. The issue is the retention right now is really low, and all the good people are getting out, because it's like, why would I stay in the Army doing this when I could get out and do this and be happier, have a more free schedule, make more money? Right. I mean, there's things that I miss about the Army, like the people for sure, like because you don't have to try to make friends in the Army.
Yeah.
You're always around people every day. You live with them, and you're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
But if you're going to join, like if someone asked me that, I would say, really think about why you want to join. Do as much research as you can, but there's nothing that anyone could tell you or you could read online that's going to really like prepare you for it, and it's changed now. Yeah. Like when I joined in 2017 is a lot different than now.
Yeah. For sure.
When I got off the bus in Carolina, like if I even said on this podcast what they said to us, I'd be canceled. Man, like I would be canceled. Like bro. They really canceled.
Wow.
Canceled immediately.
Done.
So like you can't you can't take it personally though. Like they're just trying to, because I mean ultimately if you think about what is it for? What is it like? I go back to this all the time. I'm a big purpose guy. Like why am I doing this? What is it for?
Absolutely.
So then I try to ask myself, like maybe not then, but now, like, why were they like that? Because ultimately it's like we were talking about that pressure, like putting someone forging them in the fire, like because the reality is, our job in the Army is not to do computers, fix printers. Our baseline job is to kill the enemy. Right. And so you got to be in that. You got to be able to do that. Yeah. Like when I made sergeant and I was in Kansas, I had a soldier, and she was a great soldier. I love her to death, but she would always cry, dude. Like she would cry about things, like good things, bad things. She just was very emotional. Yeah. And I counseled her and was like, dude, I was like, you've got to stop crying. Like, because if we especially like I was in the Army in 1st Infantry Division when that stuff broke off with Ukraine and Russia. So I was like, oh shit,
Yeah, no, this is real.
So, regardless of what happened, it's like a lot of nerves, a lot of on edge. And so I was talking to them about stuff, and like, I told her, like, you got to stop crying. Like, let's say we actually get sent to battle, if I take Ebola or something, she was my next in charge. Right. You can't be crying. Yeah. You gotta be on your shit. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know what's going on. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know if that kind of answers your question. That was a lot.
It absolutely does. I think with the military in general, it's kind of a state of mind thing. again, like, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I know anything about that. Like, I never served. Like, I don't have any like family or anything that serves. Like, the military is like all foreign concept to me. I personally just don't know enough. So like I said, I'd love getting your perspective on that and kind of like how that is and kind of how that shifts people, how that shifts your state of mind, like the friend, building and connections that you find there. Cause like I said, I don't know anything about that. So
Yeah, no, I'm glad you asked, man. Like the army is it's a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of
yeah,
fun. You do a lot of fun things. Like I went air assault jungle school, like rappelled out of helicopters.
yeah,
Got lifted
yeah,
up out of the jungle from Black Hawks and stuff,
right,
and like swinging out and all, rappelling off of cliffs and
yeah,
things, and shooting and guns and all, blowing stuff up. And
all the
because I
funs,
was like a marksmanship was one of my like best parts of being like one of my most proficient areas.
real okay,
And so
yeah.
like 40 out of 40 at the range. Like
Come on now,
I was a 249 gunner, 50 cal gunner, like just
yeah,
all the things. So like
shooter, come
so
on, yeah,
when I made NCO, like which is non-commissioned officer, like
hmm
sergeants, I was a coach. And
hmm
so I trained that, which kind of, led me into coaching now football. So
right,
funny how that works, right?
yeah, yeah. Hey, look, it all wraps around some kind of way,
Yeah. So yeah,
Dang,
I'll coach them. But man, there was one time. There's a lot of people in the army that don't know what they're doing, and
sure,
that's normal. It's anywhere.
sure,
But like, especially with lieutenants, like I was saying, if you have a bachelor's degree, you can be a lieutenant, which is an
okay,
officer. It could be any bachelor's degree. So one
wow,
time I was on the range, and I was a 249 coach at Fort Riley, and that's First Infantry Division. There is when I was
hmm
in, and we had a bunch of soldiers come out to the range. It was 249 range, which is like it's like a light machine gun,
yeah,
and so you put the belt in, charge it, and then you can spray.
yeah,
And the lieutenant in charge, she like was very brand new, and I was a sergeant. And so all these soldiers come up with their 249, which is the gun, and she hands them all their belts of ammo.
hmm
And I'm like, wait a minute, like, are we gonna give like a safety brief? Are
like
we gonna like
a little
talk about?
something,
Are we gonna
disclaimer,
make sure these soldiers know what they're
yeah, no,
doing
yeah, man,
before we hand them light machine
yeah,
guns
lit,
and belts
yes,
of 100-round belts?
yes,
So just like the competency in the leadership of the army is highly questionable.
sure,
Especially when they can't find people to fill. Like
yeah,
when you can't have people, when people don't want to stay in,
right,
you got to promote who's left.
yeah, you
And
had
so
to,
you
you
can
had
put
to,
two and two together of like the
yep,
people who stick it out. Sometimes usually you're not like, because getting out of the army is really a risk. It's a gamble. You have to risk. You have to take a bet on yourself
oh yeah,
because
wholeheartedly, yeah,
you have everything taken care of. And like in the army, they set it up to where it's like you're like a kid again. Like your insurance bills, you don't even see it. So
hmm
it's like when I got discharged, like, and I got honorable and everything, but it's
yeah,
like you have your car and you just they they have to once you drive off post, like that's it. You have
yeah,
you and your car and that's it.
you
So I had to
you're
live
done,
I had to live in my mom's basement for 6 months before I
feel
could
you,
just get on my feet.
yeah,
So like it's a gamble. But anyway, back to that story. So we were on the range and so she handed out all the ammo and stuff, and I was like, wait, because I was a range safety that day, which is like
hmm
a coach pretty much. Make sure, clear help, kind of walk on the range
yeah,
and kind of help out the soldiers, make sure the weapons are clear before they're up
hmm
and walking around and stuff. And I was like, wait. I literally was like, stop. I was like, stop.
right,
I was like, come here. I grabbed the soldier and took his ammo and was like, all right, load this. Yeah, he had no idea what he was doing.
man,
No
come
clue.
on,
So I was like,
come
man,
on,
like
man,
you're about to, and it was our company XL at the time, was executive officer. I'm like, you're about to send these teenagers, 18, 19-year-old kids on the
hmm
range with 100-round belts, light machine guns, and they don't even know how to
They don't
load
know
it,
what they
bro.
don't know
Like,
what's
what are we
going on.
doing, bro?
Nah,
What are we doing,
that can't
bro?
happen, man. You
Yeah.
definitely want some kind of sense of direction about how that go, because that get real muddy real quick, man.
I mean, that's how the army is too, though. Like a lot of the focus has shifted. Like when I joined, the focus was being killers, like being all around soldiers, shoot, move, communicate,
Right.
being proficient in all those areas, being able
hmm
to pick up a weapon, check it, load it, fire it.
Yep. Yep.
But now, I mean, along with society, I'm sure you can probably guess where it's shifted to where it's more like less about that and more about like, I don't know, feelings and that kind of stuff. But
I don't know.
you know how it
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. I don't know if you're thinking about joining. It's never a bad thing. I mean,
Okay.
the reality of it is, I say is, it's only a short time in your life.
Right.
You can I signed up for a 6-year contract. They have 3-year contracts, whatever, depending on whatever job. So it's good for getting out of debt. You know, like if you're in a lot of
True.
college debt, they'll pay off your college debt.
Dang,
Or
I didn't know that. Yeah.
yeah, there's programs to pay off your college debt.
Hmm.
I would recommend if you're thinking about doing part time to do the Army Reserves over the National Guard,
Okay.
at least here in Illinois, because or the Air Force Reserves, because the reserves are funded federally, and the
Okay.
National Guard is funded by the state.
Yeah. Come on
So
now.
you know,
You gotta,
Illinois
yeah,
is.
we're broke. Come on now. Yeah. I'm with you on that, man. So I don't know. Yeah, definitely. You got to make sure that you have your own kind of way about navigating how that goes. Because again, it get muddy, especially here in Illinois, man. We got a bucks like that, man. So you definitely gotta kind of shift and pivot. Again, reserves, National Guard. I'm sure they both serve their roles
Mhm.
respectively. But yeah, I wouldn't know anything about that, man. So
Yeah, a lot of
yeah,
guys talk smack about the Guard and the like they call them weekend warriors.
we
'Cause-
got all the weekend warriors.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like I think they drill on the weekend once a month and like
Oh,
2 weeks continuous, like 2 weeks through in the summertime.
Hmm.
Because it's built for like college kids, pretty much. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, not just, but a lot of college kids do it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
There
That's
used to be a
cool.
program where you could go to basic training in between your senior year high school,
Really.
and then you could come out. I don't think they do it anymore, but
Mm.
I looked into doing it, but then I was like, nah,
Yeah.
let's do it all one
Yeah.
shot.
You just let it come
And
to
I'm
you,
glad I
man.
did, dude, because once you
Yeah.
come back from basic training, it's like, again, I don't know how it is now though, because like I heard there's stress cards now where they can pull out a
Mm.
stress card if they're too stressed out or whatever.
Oh.
And like the shark attack is gone. That for sure is
Really?
gone.
That's
That's
gone,
not a thing
yeah.
anymore.
Wow.
Like when you get off the bus and they're like in your face screaming and all that stuff, they
Yeah.
don't do that anymore.
Hmm.
It's all about they have this team building exercise as soon as you get off, which I mean,
That's important.
it's
for
okay.
what it's worth.
That's okay. Because like they said the original idea of the shark attack was during the Vietnam draft, and there was. Do you like history at all? Are you into history
Yeah,
at all?
I like history. Absolutely.
So like the Vietnam draft, they got a lot of guys who didn't want to be there,
Mhm.
and so the way to like get them like shocked into like oh shit was they implemented the shark attack.
Get them. Yeah.
So they think that I watched a lot of videos on this because I was just really interested in like because that's something I experienced and now it's gone. So like
Yeah.
that's
Oh.
I am now classified into one of the people left that eventually there's not going to be any people left who have experienced a shark attack by an
That's
American
true.
drill
They're,
sergeant.
they're getting them figured
So
out.
it's
Yeah.
crazy how it's just life, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. I appreciate the whole perspective on that, man. 'Cause, like, I got nothing on that, man. That's something. That's crazy. I think, yeah, and again, like a whole different generation, like of kids or even like older people that are just now starting to get in the military and stuff like that. Like it'll definitely be different, man. It'll definitely be different. And all I know about military, what you see in the movies, so it'll be different. But I think it's good, to incorporate like different kind of exercises and different, team building things. Like they all have their place respectively, but yeah, man, I don't know. Your state of mind and the new, somebody that just hopping in basic right now, two different things, man, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I wish them all the best. It's like I have a hate love relationship with the Army. Of course, I want to see it succeed, not
Of
only
course.
because I was in it, but also because like we need it to succeed.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
we need it
it'd
to
be
succeed.
nice. Yeah,
but,
it'd be nice. Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. It's because sometimes I think in my head like, why in the world would anybody stay in? Like after I like experienced what I did, and like of course all the good and bad, but like if you take the good pros and cons, like I personally, it would make no sense for me to stay in.
Mm,
And so it's like, I want people to stay in because we need a good army, but it's like,
course.
it's weird when it's people you actually know.
yeah.
Like whenever like people are crying like, oh, let's go to war. We got to go back up. We got to go back up X country for this and that. It's like, it's a lot different when it's
Yeah, I'm
when
about
it's
to say,
you and
when
your
it's your
homies that are
people,
talking
yeah,
about going.
when
It's,
it's your
it's a lot easier to say send the troops than it is to
Yeah.
say let's go.
Send my boy. Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's that's got to be different, man. I couldn't even imagine. And like again, big salute, big props to everybody that's involved in that because it's a completely different state of mind, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that,
Completely
man. Yeah.
different. Yeah, of course, man.
So I say like probably enter like the wrap up phase here. Like
Yeah.
what else? Any last comments, things we want to talk about before we
Man.
hop off here?
I think for the most part, we hit everything again that I came in with my books, man. Got to talk about some film stuff, cinema. Got to talk about Drake. That was a big one that I had to make sure I came in here and hammered out, man. Everything else, man, we're good, man. I'm chilling. You got anything left for your cards, man?
Just life's good, man. Life's
Yeah,
good, man.
life's good.
Chilling,
Come on now.
chilling. I would say like coming out of the army. I'd say more than anything, like going into the army. I think is easier than coming out.
Yeah.
To be honest, like I was saying, it's a gamble,
Yeah.
but you just gotta really freaking dig deep, you
You
know,
gotta
like
get on that. Yeah.
you go. I mean, it's like a whole world. Both of them are flip flops of your whole world, but
Right.
like getting out is hard. And like the statistic is 22 veterans a day kill himself.
Really?
22 veterans a day.
Man.
So like it's a sad reality that pretty much every single veteran, every guy who served knows a couple guys who off themselves.
Right.
So like, you know, just don't be that guy. Don't.
Yeah.
You gotta just. I don't know. And it's challenging for me because like I've been fortunate and blessed enough to where I've never really had those thoughts. Never really
Right.
sunk to that point. I've been in very low spots, but never have I sunk to the point of suicide.
Right.
And you know, it's just the resources are there. You know, like
Yeah.
like I've been to counseling. I'll admit that. You know, because they provide it, and I was
Yeah.
feeling shitty, so I went, and
Yeah.
it helped. You know, so it's like I don't know. Dig deep. I know a lot of guys who thought about getting out and they chickened out last second because it's like I said, it's a gamble. And luckily
is.
for me, I'm a single dude.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a lot that you got to factor in if you're not in your position for sure.
yeah, because family, you got dogs.
Yeah.
You can't really go live in your mom's basement like I did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Mm-hmm.
just really prepare, set yourself up, but don't be scared. You know, don't be scared to take that risk and get out. And then if your path is to stay in, you know, because I say like most of my viewers are probably almost all my guests, except for like 3 or 4 have been dudes from the Army.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, man, I definitely provide a new. I don't know anything about that, man. So it's different now. Trying to get some kind of different perspective on that. 'Cause like I said, I'm completely on the outside. I don't know, anything really about that. Again, the stuff you see in media. I don't even really like know that many individuals myself. Like you, of course, but like I couldn't sit here and name, oh yeah, so and so, served or anything like that. So I'm completely receptive to you and your experience on that because I have no idea.
Well, appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man, of
But
course, man.
tell them where they can find you. Tell them where they can find your your videos and everything.
Where you can find me, honestly, I even hate to be that guy, but I'm gonna do a little shoulder brush.
Go ahead, plug it.
Just Google me, man. Google me. Just Google my name, Kenneth Yokem. You'll probably find all my media on there. Like my Instagram, my YouTube channel is just my name, Kenneth Yokem II. It's on there. You'll find my Twitter on there. You'll find my IMDb page and all my certifications and award wins and stuff like that. So just Google me. You'll find whatever you're searching for, man, for sure.
All right, kids. Well, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm so happy you guys. It's been a good one. This is our 11th episode. So we're
11th one?
Yeah, because after this new year, like I was kind of slow, but then because coaching and all that stuff, but after like we're rolling now. We got it going.
Getting
So
back in the groove.
Yeah,
I'm glad that I was able to be a part of that thing, man.